Because of the way Mark tells the story of Jesus in his gospel, some people think that Jesus was reckless or simply suicidal in his ways. And this impression is understandable because in St. Mark, Jesus embarks on his public ministry immediately after John the Baptist is arrested. And he resolves to proceed to Jerusalem immediately after John the Baptist is beheaded or executed. You would probably react and say he was practically inviting danger or walking straight into the lion's mouth. Shouldn't he have been more careful or more circumspect? Well, today's gospel should be able to erase that impression. No. Jesus was not the reckless type. Yes, he made risks, but he also knew how to make calculated risks. He practiced prudence whenever necessary, and he knew how to anticipate or preempt a danger. In today's lingo, we might call it a disaster risk reduction or management. Take note of what Jesus did, for example, when the people who came to him were turning into unruly crowds, and there was a danger, for instance, of a stampede. Remember, there were a lot of sick people, children, and people with disabilities among the people who came to Jesus. And do you remember that scene when Jesus organized the food distribution, the multiplication of the loaves, by making people sit on the grass? Hindi niya pinapilahan para hindi sila mag-unahan. He organized them in groups of 50. In today's gospel, Mark is telling us that Jesus deliberately withdrew towards the lake, and he instructed his disciples to prepare an exit route. And listen to how Mark describes his move. He told his disciples to have a boat ready for him because of the crowd, so that they would not crush him. Ang tawag ko doon, the escape boat. Alam niya when to slip out of the situation. And he even planned very well how to do it. And you remember that scene in Luke chapter 4 when Jesus preached in the synagogue in his hometown in Nazareth, and the people felt offended by his preaching. And remember how the congregation turned into an angry lynch mob, like those violent rioters who stormed the U.S. Capitol building last January 6th. St. Luke tells us, the people rose up, drove him out of the town, and led him to the brow of the hill in order to throw him down headlong into the precipice. Itutulak na siya sa bangin. And take note of what Jesus did. St. Luke tells us, he passed through their midst and went away. Meaning, he was able to escape the riot, not by running away, but by walking right through them. Sa Tagalog, may tawag dito parang may sapalos baga, madulas. He could just slip in and slip out. And remember also what happened at the temple after he turned over the tables of the money changers and drove away the buyers and sellers of animals. How he was able to do that without getting arrested should be a question. It means meron siyang lookout persons. And he managed to slip out just before the temple guards could intervene. On another occasion, Jesus was seen preaching right at the temple area, and the people recognized him. Sabi ba naman nila, hindi ba yan yung pinaghahanap nila? How come he's here and speaking openly? Nung medyo bata-bata pa ako, in my younger activist years, I remember getting involved in what we called lightning rallies against the dictatorship. We would plan all the entry points and the exit points in the city or the town square, and we would be bringing our makeshift placards and streamers made of very light material para pag finold mo, maliit lang. An MC would suddenly stand on a parked truck at may dala-dala na siyang megaphone, and he would begin addressing the crowd, and then we would all unfurl our hidden streamers with slogans and messages. And then someone would give a signal pag may pulis na o militar, just before they would make an arrest, and then we would quickly fold up everything and disperse and disappear by simply mingling with the crowd. Parang ganyan din ang style ni Jesus. And my point is, nag-ingat din siya. He was also cautious. And it is probably what he meant whenever he said, well, hindi ko pa naman oras, my hour has not yet come. Whenever he eluded an arrest, he just made the most of his limited time in order to be able to bring across his message. St. Matthew tells us in a summary form, sometimes he was also tempted to be reckless and adventurous. You remember that part in the temptation story where the devil brought Jesus up on the parapet of the temple and he told him, sabi niya, kung anak ka ng Diyos, magpatihulog ka. Hindi ka masasaktan. The angels will catch you. What are you in power for? But Jesus knew better not to be fooled by the devil who wanted him to go on a self-destruct mode. In Filipino, one of our expressions of affection is, ingat ka, ingat ka. It is actually a universal expression. You will find a version of it in practically any language. Sa English, take care. Sa Espanyol, ten cuidado. Sa French, prends soin de toi, etc. You know, many years ago, may sumikat na TV commercial. It was made popular by the jingle. At ganito ang sinasabi ng jingle, take good care of your heart. It's the only one you've got. If you lose your heart, I'll lose you. Meaning you are being asked to care for yourself precisely because you care for others, for your loved ones, or for the people you offer your life to.